Marvel has a history of hiding Easter eggs in their films, like when Captain America's shield is spotted in Iron Man 2 way before the super soldier's appearance. It's not a fluke that the MCU's timeline has been ongoing since 2008. Everything is connected and well thought out. And in their most recent installment, Thor: Love and Thunder, Zeus made a joke that might be a teaser for the future. Let's talk about it. First up, Zeus reveals the future of the MCU. A line spoken by Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder hints at the MCU's best-case scenario for Thor. Even though Chris Hemsworth's character was confirmed to return at the end of the credits, it's still unclear what Marvel has planned for him. Given Marvel's route as Earth's mightiest heroes, it would make sense for Thor to rejoin the Avengers again at some point, right? But the God of Thunder has not been confirmed to appear in either Phase 5 or Phase 6. While Thor was attempting to enlist the aid of Omnipotent City in the fight against Gore the God Butcher, Russell Crowe's Zeus made a remark that provided a hint as to what Thor could do next in the MCU. Zeus argued that they didn't have to get involved because they weren't the God Police. In light of Thor's transformation throughout the film, the phrase isn't too far from capturing the essence of his character's arc. Thor's next Marvel Cinematic Universe movie might actually go one step further and have him start actively looking for threats to the different pantheons. After all, Gore is probably not the worst villain they'll ever face. On a side note, in the comics, Gore was way more menacing than his MCU counterpart, but there are way more Thor villains waiting to make their debut in the MCU. So who knows? But if it happens and Thor does end up being the God Police, it's going to be fun seeing him take on all sorts of villains and rogue gods. Moving on to how Phase 5 sets up the God Police. The mid-credits scene for Thor: Love and Thunder scene unmistakably links Hercules' introduction to Thor's future in a subtle but clear way. Perhaps the God Police storyline teased by Love and Thunder will just show Hercules on a mission to track down Thor, regardless of which movie it takes place in. In the Marvel comics, Hercules was one of the first heroes to join the Avengers. This suggests that the two heroes will eventually put their differences aside and work together as a powerful duo. In the comics, the characters have worked together to protect many planets, including Olympia, the home world of the Eternals. But you have to agree that an epic showdown between the two is inevitable, and if that happens, it's going to be a treat to watch. After the battle is done and dusted, the two put their differences aside. Thor, the God of Thunder, can find an ally in Hercules, who's on par with him in strength and more than up to the challenge of accompanying Thor on his intergalactic exploits. Thor and Hercules can patrol the cosmos together, protecting it from various dangers, whether they choose to do so by solely working together or as part of a team of intergalactic superheroes. Since Marvel's exploration of the MCU's gods has barely scratched the surface of what they have to offer in the comics, this could also be a way for Marvel to show more of them. And Marvel's roster of gods and their stories are some of the best stories created by the comic book giants. Next up, why the God Police storyline is perfect for Thor. Thor, being the God Police, fits well with where his character is going, and it's the right path for both him and Brett Goldstein's Hercules to take in Phase 5 and beyond. He is nothing like the cocky god who led an invasion of Jotunheim in the first ever Thor movie. We've seen versions of Thor in Marvel comics, but almost all of them go through the same character development. He starts off as Thor the Odinson, grows and matures into Thor the God of Thunder, and eventually becomes All-Father Thor. What he did in the movie showed he has grown into the role of a cosmic protector who will do anything to keep god-killing bad guys like Gore away. Even though the gods in the MCU are very powerful, it seems that they even need heroes to keep them safe. And who is better than Thor? The idea still isn't that far off. In the comics, Thor actually becomes a police officer in Omnipotent City. As a cosmic god cop, Thor stopped pantheons from fighting and arrested gods who broke the rules between pantheons. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? Moving on, even though Marvel tries to keep the continuity going, Thor 4 might have slipped the plot hole check. Let's talk about the Guardian of the Galaxy's Volume 3 plot hole in Thor. The apparent struggles of Star-Lord in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer leaves a gap in the story of Thor: Love and Thunder. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a highly anticipated movie for Marvel fans, not only because it's the first full adventure of the Guardians since Avengers Endgame, but also because it'll feature the first appearance of Will Poulter as Adam Warlock. Audiences did get a glimpse of what the Guardians of the Galaxy have been up to in the interim between films. Thanks to cameos in Thor: Love and Thunder in the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, though, there is a continuity error in the former film. The trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 premiered at the 2022 San Diego Comic-Con. It shows Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, facing some serious mental health struggles as a result of the living Gamora having no memory of him, despite the fact that the Gamora seen in Avengers Endgame is from a time before the Guardians of the Galaxy ever met. This contradicts Quill's appearance in Thor: Love and Thunder. Despite his and the Guardians' brief appearance in the film's initial moments, with Thor not joining the Guardians, Quill appears unfazed and upbeat. Maybe things haven't gotten that bad yet, or maybe it's just a production mistake. But in either case, it's created a plot that Marvel will have to fix in the upcoming third installment of the Guardians of the Galaxy. If you aren't up to date with Gamora and Star-Lord's relationship, don't worry, that's next. Up next, the chemistry between Star-Lord and Gamora. From the first film, it was clear that down the line there was going to be a spark between Peter Quill and Gamora at some point. In the second film, Mantis, another member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, pointed out that the Star-Lord loves Gamora in a very comical way, and Drax joked and teased him throughout the movie. Considering the feelings Quill developed for Gamora, you can imagine how much of an obstacle this would be for him, given that Quill's controversial attack on Thanos in Avengers Infinity War paved the way for the Titan to carry out the snap. After learning that Thanos had killed the Gamora he knew and loved, this seemed to be a reasonable assumption. And that's the reason why Quill's character development between Thor: Love and Thunder and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 seems like a major plot hole that needs to be addressed in the latter film. Finally, how Marvel can fix the plot hole. One explanation for Quill's change in attitude from Thor: Love and Thunder to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 may have something to do with the breakup of his romance with Gamora, and may be the result of the emotional pain he still feels over the breakup. Potential triggers for his depression include the return of the alternate Gamora as Ravager leader and the space-time difficulties of the re-established relationship. Quill is likely trying to get over Gamora's death while on his space adventures with Thor and the Guardians, which is a demanding task that may affect him. After seeing Gamora again as the leader of the Ravagers is likely to cause him a shock. Quill would probably feel sad when he saw Gamora again because it would bring back memories of the times they went on adventures together and when she died. Quill's pain could be made worse by the fact that Gamora, because of where she comes from in time, doesn't know about any of these events. These could be used to explain the difference in Quill's mood from Thor: Love and Thunder to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, since Gamora's unexpected return in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 changed his mood. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 could be a challenge for Quill, but it could also be an opportunity to explain why he seems happy in Thor: Love and Thunder. Star-Lord would be thrilled to see Gamora again, but the unusual circumstances of her return could make him depressed and worry about the new problems it brings. What are your thoughts on Gorr the God Police, and do you think Marvel will fix this plot hole in Guardians Volume 3 or address it in a later film? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.